1, 2, 3. Hi, Wycliffe Barrett here, Xplane dedicated. Today I'm going to start my series of tutorial videos on the Airbus A320 from Flight Factor. It's finally arrived, it's in beta. We'll see you right after the intro.
November 180 Bravo Bravo, good afternoon to you. Report your altitude? 2,000 feet.
So it has arrived, it's finally here from Flight Factor, the A320 Ultimate as it is. I received it the other day. I've been messing around with it, so I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a series of videos on the A320. So going into some kind of detail and some depth, they'll be shorter videos, but altogether they'll make up around about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour of video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with just a kind of overview of the cockpit, a look around the cockpit, a look around the external model of the aircraft, and then we'll move on to other features as I do the videos. The one thing I will say is that, of course, it's a beta release, and I was given a beta release from Xplane.org, so many thanks to Nicholas at Xplane.org for continuing to support Xplane dedicated. The one thing I will say was that the installation routine, whilst amazingly simple in so much as that you grab the folder, the A320 folder, and just put it into aircraft, the activation process for me was very, very confusing. The instructions simply said install it into a folder and then start the aircraft up and activate. I then found out, because even though I had documentation, it didn't say anything in the documentation other than that, so install it and activate it. I then found out that I needed a number of redistributable C++ files from Microsoft, of which I had, so I thought I needed them, but I didn't because I already had them. Even so, the aircraft still wouldn't allow me to activate it. All the cockpit glass was green, and a number of switches in the overhead were green. What I had to do, I found out, was that inside the aircraft folder is a folder called plugins, and inside that folder is another folder called CEF, I believe. CEF has to be moved into your plugins folder in your Xplane directory. So Xplane resources plugins, and so you move that folder into there, and as soon as you do that and you start up the aircraft, you can then activate it, but you have to make sure that you've got power. So therefore you have to put on ground power using the iPad that's in the aircraft. Then you have to turn on the MCDU and you activate it through the MCDU. Well, a little bit confusing, and there was no instructions for that, but I'm pretty sure that when we get the full release it'll just be a simple installer and it'll automatically go to the MCDU, and you'll be able to activate it that way. I'll show you what I mean now. Anyway, let's get into the video. As I say, this is going to be a short one. It's just going to be cockpit familiarization. Not forgetting, of course, I use XCamera, so I've set up all my views in XCamera for me to be able to move around my cockpit and some external views. Let's get going. Okay, YouTube, here I am. I'm in the cockpit of the A320 by Flight Factor. Actually, it's called the Flight Factor A320 Ultimate, so let's get this right straight off, okay? I'm in the cockpit, and as I said at the beginning, there was this issue with the installation. So what I'm going to show you is exactly what you need to know, okay? So forget about Gizmo 64 and the IXEG hotfix. That's to do with the IXEG. Here's my Xplane 11 folder on its own dedicated drive here, okay? So let me just open this aircraft. You install it to any folder you want. You could create a folder here and call it Flight Factor and put your Flight Factor aircraft in there. I just put it in Laminar Research. Okay, so looking down, here it is. Where is it? I've lost it already. There we go. FF A320 Ultimate. Open that and you've got your aircraft folder. Okay, now when I installed that, that's what was here. Okay, you look inside your aircraft folder, and there was this plugins, yeah, and it said in the plugins there was the CEF folder. Okay, now I didn't realize that CEF folder needed to be somewhere else, okay? It doesn't stay there. Alright, it doesn't stay there. The XRAS stuff does, and XTCAS stuff stays there. That's fine, and that goes in automatically. I didn't put that in, but the CEF folder has to go way back here. Has to go in your resources plugins folder, and there it is, CEF. Okay, so even when you get it, if you're lucky enough to get the beta version in the next round of betas, and there isn't the installer the way that I think it should be, and you find that CEF folder is in the resources plugins folder within your aircraft folder, you need to move it into your Xplane 11 resources plugins folder. Hope I've made that clear. I always worry about these things. Anyway, once you've done that, the aircraft opens up such as this, and if you start the aircraft up, if you started the aircraft with power on, ready to roll, then it'll be open. There will be power on, and all you have to do is go to the FMC here and press activate to activate it. Otherwise, you need to get power to the aircraft. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty cold and dark here, and this is what you use. You use your iPad. There's one on the left, there's one on the right. Let's see if we can get to the one on the right. I did create a view for it, I think. There it is. It's over there. I've kind of set this up for review as opposed to be able to use that. So we need to use this one because I can see this. So you see you've got your GPU here, you've got your air starter unit as well. Now, when you first look at it, you think it's on, but it isn't. It's off. So you click on the ground power unit, it changes colour to blue there, and as soon as you click that you hear the air as well, and come up here and it says external power available. Alright, external power available. At that point, once you've turned that on, see how everything lights up? Turn that on. The self-test is in progress on all the glass. Your MCDU, or as some people like to call it, the FMC, becomes active. Alright, and then you'll be able to put in your code. It says license status there. I would be very careful if you do streaming or anything like that. Okay, do not click on license status now, because it'll show your key, it'll show your code. Alright, so I would be very careful if you do any kind of live streaming or Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Be very careful about clicking on that button for any explanations, because it will show your code, and that means that anybody can pick it up. Then they'll be able to freeze frame and get it. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. I paused then and checked myself to make sure that what I was saying is correct, and it is. I clicked on the status button, and right across the middle of the FMC was my activation code. Maybe they should change that and have the activation code show up as just X's or something. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure somebody will make a mistake, and that will, they'll transmit their code. Anyway, let's just get back to the aircraft itself, and basically what this video is just a familiarization around the cockpit. So, and if you've flown an Airbus aircraft, you'll know they all kind of look the same, don't they? There's not an awful lot different between one Airbus and another, and that's the whole idea of Airbus, is that it's cheaper to train their pilots. You can move from one aircraft type to another, so you'll have an A320 pilot being able to step into an A330. I think the major difference will be on the A350 and the A380, where pilots will have to do some conversion. Anyway, so it's a standard layout of the cockpit. On the top, hang on, let me get here. On the top you've got the MCP on the glaze shield, so on the left hand side, starting over on the left hand side, you've got the chrono, which is your clock, side stick priority. QNH, then you've got your nav displays, so whether you want ARC, plan, nav, VOR or a landing display. Then you've got your range. Beneath that you've got your ADF and VOR switches. Above you've got constraints. This is information that you can put on your nav flight display. Constraints, waypoints, VOR, NDB and airports, usual stuff. Coming across the top here you've got your speed, heading, altitude and vertical speed. Now obviously in manage mode, and I'm not quite sure whether that's quite the right phrase, but in manage mode you push the buttons in and the aircraft just flies itself. Pull the buttons out, you take control. Now I have to say that the click spot arrangement is rather bizarre. As you can see here you've got a minus and a plus. There you go, a plus. You've got a down key, a down arrow and an up arrow. Down is for pulling, up is for pushing. The minus and the plus are for the values, but if you use your mouse wheel as I'm doing here, it doesn't matter whether you're on minus or plus. You know, as long as you're on there, it'll go up and down. So I'm scrolling my wheel up and I'm scrolling my wheel down. It takes a little bit of getting used to as to, you know, the function of the mouse over the buttons and knobs and everything, because of this arrow, up and down arrow, which is push and pull. On other places like this, you know, it's just a left click. So it does take a little bit of getting used to. So clearly you've got your enunciators at the top and then your manipulators beneath. Autopilot 1, autopilot 2, auto throttle, altimeter. So you can see then when as I started turning it, the vertical speed went off because pitch is handled by the aircraft in autopilot mode, and then on the right hand side you've got a replication of the left hand side there. So that is the glare shield. Okay, moving up to the overhead is straightforward, once again straightforward Airbus layout. Looking up at the top, you've got your standby radio up at the top here. On the left hand side you've got your ADIRS, you've got your fire test and alarms. So the fire test, hang on, yeah, right engine fire test, left engine fire test. So you got your fire test up there, and then coming down here is your electrical pumps and engine pumps. Below this is your cross feed pumps for your tanks. So engine 1 APU is on the left, and on the right is you've got center pumps, and then your right hand pumps as well. Below that you have your battery. You've got BAT 1, BAT 2, voltage being read. The BAT 2 is a little bit low, they're not balanced. So you've got your commercial signs, galley and cabin signs. It's really quite straightforward. Generator 1, APU, bus tie, external power Gen 2, and the IDG2, IDG1. Coming down further in the centre here, you've got your pack flows, cockpit, forward cabin, aft cabin, hot air, packs, all the usual stuff. And of course, with the Airbus, if it's not lit up, then it's on. So these that are not lit up are on. Beneath that you've got your anti-ice for wings and engines, probe window heat, cabin pressures, internal lights, signs and external lights then. Okay. On the left hand side you've got your flight control, command, evac horn shut off, captain and purser's light, emergency electrical power, GPWS, then your recorders, oxygen, calls, rain, repellent, wipers. The rain repellent is inoperative, you'll notice, and then some of the things on the left are replicated here over on the right, which is flight control. You've got cargo heat, cargo smoke. There's a test which appears inoperative. Ventilation, blowers, extractors and cabin fans, and then manual start for the engines if you need that. Right, so moving to the glass, as they say. On the left hand side here is your horizontal situation indicator, HSI. In the middle here is your flight plan and navigational display. Not the middle, next to it, sorry. In the middle is your engine parameters. Below that is your lower ECAM. In the middle here we have our clock, chronometer, brakes, sorry, can't see that at the moment, my eyes are failing me. You've got your auto brake, anti-skid and nose wheel steering, terrain on, and then on the right hand side the glass is replicated on the right hand side there with HSI and navigation display. So going to the lower ECAM here, of course everything is on this panel, so engines, leads, pressure, and all of these work. These are all different systems that work. Your electrical system, hydraulics, fuel, APU, as you can see the APU is not running, doors, wheels, flight control, which you need to get to because obviously flight control is where your pitch trim is, and then you can just cycle through them all. It's just cycle through one at a time over a period of time. So just at the moment we need flight control for a little bit later on in the next video. Okay. Coming further down is your radios, and you'll notice that the 3D rendering is really good here. When it comes to your squawk code and your transponder, you need to press that twice, clear that, and then you can put in your code, put it to TARA. Okay. Integrated lights, yeah, floodlights, can't see very well because it's daylight, so we can't see what's happening. Throttles, sorry, flaps, parking brake, throttles, etc. Okay, I think we just need to have a look at the iPad in a little bit more detail, because I only told you about the ground power unit. You put your fuel in here, you call for fuel, and then you can set it. So I can call for fuel, set. Hang on, I just wait for the fuel truck. The fuel truck is there. Now you press set. You can put as much fuel in as you want or not. And this is before I've even done flight planner or anything like that. So you can put your fuel in. Passengers, you've got to call for stairs. So you see the stairs arriving. There. Did they arrive externally? I don't know. He says, trying to get back outside. Yeah, they do. So everything arrives, as you can see. So the fuel trucks arrived, the stairs arrived, the APU unit and air unit as well, they've arrived. So yeah, everything turns up and arrives. That's quite nice, and we haven't had a proper chance to have a look outside yet. We will do. And you can add passengers, remove them at your will. You can set it to 2/3 full or 1/3 full. You can empty it out, or you can fill it up. Okay. Cargo is the same. You can add cargo, so you can call. We'll remove some cargo, I think. So. Yeah, so there you go. I've removed it all. Set. Get some more. Right, set. That's it. That's all done. No, this is your performance data here, where you get different bits of data from. But apparently, we have to use PFPX, which I'm not too happy about. I'm pretty sure there's other things that we can use for that data. Checklist. There is a browser that actually works. Settings. Panels quality normal or high. Let's put it on high. IRS alignment speed. I think you can create some and set them at different. So you can have 2 times, 5 times, or 10 times speed. Yeah, that's all pretty good. Map. Enter your Google API key. Obviously, you need to go to Google and sort that out, but that's in the manual. So that's your cockpit orientation, I think. Let's have a look outside. The wings are absolutely beautiful. They're stunning wings. The wing views I've set up, they look remarkable. And we have just the little oh gosh, what do they call them on the end there? Not sharklets, winglets. Yeah, they have winglets. There are no scimitars, and there are no sharklets. You've just got these little winglets on the end there. Okay, so trying to get outside again now, find a different view. It's a beautiful aircraft. It's so well modelled. It's absolutely uncanny, and flying it is, I mean, it's unbelievable. The frame rates on my PC are, well, phenomenal. It's buttery smooth to hand fly. The fly-by-wire works as it should. There's been lots of comments about the fly-by-wire. It is absolutely superb. I see no problems with it whatsoever. Let me get a different view. Then we can get outside and have a look at the aircraft. There we go. It is really, really nice. I certainly would not complain about this. You know, it is a beautiful looking aircraft. Very, very well modelled. I think Flight Factor have learned an awful lot of lessons from the past few years. Don't forget, they've been working very, very hard since 777 to upskill, as they say. And you know, we had the 777, the 757 in a couple of versions, the 767 in a couple of versions. I still think the 757 and the 767 are incredible aircraft, but now with Xplane 11 and all of the things that you can leverage out of Xplane 11, Flight Factor have done a cracking job with this aircraft. I've flown it, I think I've flown it once since I've got it on a flight plan, and it was beautiful. It comes with, I think, 5 liveries, but you know, already people are putting liveries out onto the internet. When it goes into full release and they iron out some of the bugs, it's going to be perfect. And I'll tell you now, I think for sure it's a Jar Design beta. Jar Design will have to up their game incredibly on their next aircraft. So that's the first of these videos. It's longer than I anticipated, but you know, it's just a familiarization video. It's longer than I anticipated, but as we go through the series, what I'll do, they will be shorter. The next one will just be about starting the aircraft up, I think, and you know, getting those engines running. Okay, we'll see you soon. Cheerio.